You are listening to Comp&Ben Talks. This podcast is dedicated to people who are interested in compensation and benefits and HR topics and challenges, and wish to understand what IT could offer in that regards. If you wish to educate yourself in these topics, see others people's experience and perspective, this podcast is for you. Enjoy listening. Hello, this is Bartek Podolski and
Magda Tur.
Hi, and we welcome you to the episode 4 of Comp&Ben Talks. And today we're going to talk about what's happening in the Comp&Ben world today, what are the current trends and situations. And also we talk in a relaxed atmosphere because we have a Christmas period and a New Year period. And Magda, I wanted to start with an article from Business Insider. Like as you know, recently, in the article they shared the news that 1,000 of Microsoft employees shared their compensation data and salary data in a leaked spreadsheet, and it's double interesting because it's not like typically when something like this happens, it's like the data leaks from companies because of errors or omissions, or somebody just put a file in a wrong folder or emailed something. And this time it was easy. It was different because people just gathered the data in a shared spreadsheet and they shared it with outside world. So it's like a new thing, I think, in Comp&Ben world and a new reality. What do you think about it?
Hello, everyone, and Merry Christmas, of course. And yes, Bartek, thank you for sharing this article. It was interesting because just like you said, the situation when you have salary data leak, it always turns on an alert in my head that something went wrong, but this situation is very different. So people deliberately shut on salary data with colleagues, and this is the situation we can face, I think, in the future, because from employee perspective, it was a push for the company for transparency, for internal transparency of remuneration. This is something new.
Mm-hmm. So it's difficult for the company. I think it's a difficult situation, and we see this push from all over the places because. Also, regulations are going in that direction. That there should be more transparency in aggregated data, not individual data. But so it's from all angles for the companies, and I think it's a difficult situation for the company because on the one hand you need to do it, and there is like internal pressure or external pressure. On the other hand, how the other people will react, like. Like that was like at 1,000 of employees, and then you have 108,000 employees in Microsoft. So what the rest thinks about it?
Yes, so for the moment, it was just a small group of Microsoft employees. But the interesting thing is the situation. They did it spontaneously. So of course, we can expect regulations which will demand from us better transparency of the data reporting and so on. So. In general, keeping control on internal consistency of the salaries and transparency of the salaries, but this is something new. And so if they show the data position by position, this is more challenging, of course, because just like you said, if we have external regulations, we usually report the data in aggregated form. So this is maybe
easier to swallow for the
yes,
people.
Probably yes, but when you see particular positions in your own company, this is different, and you need to be ready to explain people why salaries look like this. Mm-hmm. Of course, this is really a small sample, just like we said, and I think in this particular situation, we can say that this group was the group of employees who were not very happy with salaries and had.
That's why they shared it.
Yeah, they had a reason to complain. That's why they did it, and they want to show something. So
okay, so you have a sample of data of frustrated people, probably, or people who didn't like the situation there.
Exactly. So probably we encounter the lowest percent, the lowest quartile of the salaries. But it's also important. The newspaper published it and also calculated median and minimum and maximum.
So they did a
overstatement, because we can't say that this is a median of remunerations in Microsoft based on such a small sample. But this is what happens when you have such leak and you don't have control on that. Yeah, so.
Mm-hmm. And when we spoke about it, Magda, you said interesting thing that that even if situation like this happens also for other companies, when you have a comp and ban set up right, and then you have explanation for why things are like this, and why the salaries or why the compensation looks like that, and so you have the explanations, justifications, and then even if it happens, there's nothing to worry about, because you can always explain it, and you can go to those people and say and explain that. So I think this is like function of comp and ban, that it's not visible easily, but then it can save your reputation in the long run if things like this happen.
If such things happen, and you can't control, because this is up to people if they want to share or not their own remunerations.
So yeah, exactly. And because, like, I'm hearing of cases where people shared data of other people because of a mistake, or because they would drop a wrong Excel file to a wrong folder, for example, so like everybody could see it. That was a famous case here in Krakow in recent days, but I never heard of a situation where people would gather like a spreadsheet and would share their own data willingly and put their own stuff there and share it with outside world. So this is news. I think it's changing world for me.
Yes. So I think this is the situation we should expect, or at least we should be prepared in a comp and ban. So we have to be. We need to have our data on place. We need to have justification, just like you said, and this is the only way to have control over that.
So how comp and ban can prepare for this? Like,
I think two things. So first of all, is setting up kind of the structure, remuneration structure, some policies, some rules, which will regulate how you remunerate your employees. So of course, salaries will differ from each other, but people need to understand why.
There needs to be a reason why it
differs. Yes, what is the reason behind that? Mm-hmm. So you have to prepare pay scales, you need to prepare your grade structure, and then it will be much easier to justify why my salaries
it's like this.
Yeah, it's like this, and why salary of my colleague or someone else in my team is different.
Okay. Sorry, you mentioned two things, but just quick question: what if remuneration of a individual is done under pressure? So like there is no good explanation. Like it was, let's say it was just a situation that the company had to hire someone, and then the salary.
And we have outliers. Yeah.
Yeah, you have exactly. And what then? Like that you can't really explain it well. So what to do in that situation?
So probably every salary review needs to be focused on such cases, and we should decide how our minimum and maximum salary for particular grade needs to be set up. If we accept those outliers and we just leave it as it is, and then we focus on the group of other employees, and we grant pay rises to those people.
Okay.
Below, the market, and we should have this group as consistent as possible in general. So this is the decision during next salary review, who will get a pay rise.
Okay. So gradually you would level this up.
Yes, exactly. And gradually we should have this group consistent. Of course, it won't happen quickly, but if we need to go step by step to achieve the goal, and we should make people aware that we are working on that. So this is a very different story if somebody looks at the very high remuneration of colleague, and then know that we won't do anything about it. If somebody knows that we are working on that, we don't accept such a situation. We just need time to adjust all the remunerations to the certain median. It will be a very different reaction of the employee.
Okay.
So the second thing is awareness. First of all, is setting up this this process, this structure of remuneration and awareness in salary management.
Why things are like this, and like preparing a file.
Yes, and the other thing is that we can do this on the. But this is not enough. People need to be aware what we are doing and why we are doing and when we are going to address the thing. So even if it's not perfect, it's better to know what is happening about it.
Okay. And it's, I guess it's easiest to say, it's like you should not have exceptions, don't allow to have exceptions.
Exceptions are not good in remunerations at all.
Yeah, but they happen, I think.
They happen sometimes, but maybe if you have those people with very high salaries, maybe you should think about promotion. Maybe if you are ready to pay them such money, maybe they are worth it. Yeah. So, but maybe they are
So moving
position,
them up in the scale. Okay. Yeah, makes sense. Instead of breaking your own rules, you would just accept the reality. Yeah. Yeah, I'm talking especially about, I think the IT market is the hottest market right now. So things go crazy in IT.
True, and it's very hard.
And Microsoft is one of the examples, because the salaries shared there were not the lowest salaries. I think when people from other industries look at this, they would say it's still good, I would say. Okay. Yeah, I also wanted to touch on the future regulations. Like, as I mentioned, there is not only internal push for the transparency, but also external from like the regulators. I know Germany did this already. Like they have already this regulation that they need to, on employee requests under certain cases, they need to share what's the aggregated compensation, or like anonymized compensation of peers of certain group, and that's related to gender. And I think European Commission, I read this article that they're thinking about similar things in the whole European Union. So, and that even like companies that are over 250 employees, they will have to like publish remuneration report anonymized and like make it more transparent. So that's on the one hand. On the other hand, you have this competition for people. You have inflation, like at least in Poland it's high, but I think in other places it's still high as well. So there is competition for talent, and then the companies need to find themselves in that area. So what's your thinking about this?
Well, this is quite a big challenge. So we have two different forces. One is pushing us for the better transparency and internal consistency of salaries. Another one is pushing us to make them more competitive, especially on IT market when we need to acquire talents. And I think it means a lot of work for comp and ben specialists, and without dysfunction within organization, I think about big organizations, over 250 people maybe, or bigger, it will be really hard, because your every step needs to be
thought through,
really conscious.
explained.
Yes, you need to have a strategy how you're gonna make it, how you gonna find this balance between competitiveness and internal consistency, and each decision on salary rise or hiring new employee and the salary and so on should be
within that.
Should be part of it. Should be aligned with the strategy. So if you don't have this on place, it will be definitely very difficult to keep this together.
So you think that? Do you think that comp and ben will be even more needed, even more like we'll have more to do, more responsibilities, and we'll have bigger function in a overall picture of the company because of those changes, because of those pressures? Because
yes,
they can,
yes, definitely.
Yeah, because they can
and this is all connected.
Sorry, go ahead.
No. So this is all connected with all the different HR processes, because we have our competence matrix, for example, we have our performance management process, and so on and so on. We have our succession planning. All the HR processes should be combined to this policy of grading of job architecture and so on. So it needs to make a sense together, and it will help also people to understand what is the environment, this HR environment they live in, and what are the how it works for them. So each decision should be justified in many dimensions. Right? So you don't have promotions because your competence
not enough
for now are not sufficient. Yeah. Okay. So and that's why your salary is in this bracket, right? So.
And here is what you need to do to make it better, and you need to do this and that, and have this training, and take over this responsibility. And I think overall in today's world, like taking over responsibility is not what people think they need to do to get a pay rise. I think so. It's a bit, I think, old school thinking, which I personally like. That the more you do, the more responsibility that you have, then the better, like the better company will be off with you, and then they will price you. Yeah, this is how it works still, I believe.
Yes, yes. You can say what you want, but of course, salary goes together with high responsibility.
In the end, somebody needs to produce the value that the company sells, and then this is how the money gets into the company, and then this is how you can share it. If there's no value,
the way it is.
Yeah, you can survive for a while, but you can't just do it in long term or even medium term. It's a suicide strategy for. Yeah, and on the other hand, you mentioned this will be more work and more challenging for the comp and ben. And on the other hand, I observed that comp and ben departments are rather small, even in big organizations. Like it's usually like a group of 2, 3, 4 people. Sometimes there's more specialists, but they are not big departments. And also, I noticed that I logged in. I wanted to learn more about comp and ben, so I logged into this Word at Work organization. It's I think it's a great resource center. But then I took a look at the learning that they provide, and then half of the courses was like how to make Excel work in your comp and ben world. So I was really surprised, like that at least half of the thinking or learning in the comp and ben world is related to like how to make your formulas work. So I think it's very technical. It's not something that the comp and ben should learn. They should just use it, or like have the system for it, and they should do more like intellectual thinking than technical thinking. That's my idea of it. What do you think about it?
Yes, this is a very different skill set than usually in HR, and that's why I think this function will be very needed in the future, because nobody else in HR probably can take responsibility for those processes, full responsibility for those processes, and being a guard of this strategy of internal consistency, transparency, and competitiveness.
Okay, so that's the component work. That's
yes.
a component
yes.
job
yes.
and responsibility to do it. Okay.
So that's why we need component in organization, roughly saying.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, so big times ahead, I think. Even more will be expected due to those internal pressures, due to those external pressures, regulations, things you need to report, things you need to. So, like, I think the company will have to use even more statistics, even more
Yes.
mathematical functions, and to make it all like explainable and consistent inside, and also to report to the authorities. So there'll be more work, and I think they're super busy already. So, yeah. So, what do you think is the best Christmas gift or New Year's gift for the company Ben this year? Well, what would
this
you
year
wish?
or every year?
Let's make it
this particular year. So maybe a lot of energy to be able to implement all of those good IT systems to support. As you said, usually the team is very small, so automation is very good idea. And maybe more visibility in the organization, because this is the function which is not very good in showing up, maybe, yeah, because this is difficult. This is something new sometimes within the organization, and people are not very aware what the function is doing. So maybe more visibility, energy, and good IT systems, and we will be fine.
Yeah, it's not visible until you have this data leak. Then it's
exactly.
Pretty visible then. Yeah. I'm actually, yeah. And for me, I'm actually reading this book, I think for the third time. It's how to stop worrying and start living. So I would recommend this book for every company band, like to focus on now, what you can do now, like what's the next step, not like 1,000 steps ahead. Of course, thinking about the future, but there's a lot you can do right now to make it better right now, and then the future will be better if you do it today. Like, so that's my recommendation for the new year. It's a good book.
Yes, small steps can do a long way, right?
Yeah, like long way is made of small steps we take today, and yeah, I think it's good.
Yes, at least we should set the goal ahead, and this is this strategy. So yeah.
Yeah, I think the world will be brighter for Kompanban in like 3 months from now, like in March or April.
Yes, this is the hardest time of the year for Kompanban.
It will be. So yeah, so we send you the best wishes, and to survive this time.
Thank you very much. And yeah.
Thanks everyone. Thanks everyone, and thanks Magda for this episode. I think yeah, it was good to talk to you as usual, and let's meet in I think 2 weeks from now after the Christmas break.
Yes. So have a wonderful Christmas time, and all the best for the new year to everyone.
Yeah. And to your company. Cheers.
Okay. Bye. Sure. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.